If you are a Sagittarius rising, I know exactly what you've been doing. You've been performing confidence instead of living from real desire. In 2026, that performance finally ends. This is a heart and truth year. Let's talk about why. This is the 2026 full year forecast for Sagittarius rising. In Astrofusion Lab, we read from the rising sign perspective because it shows how astrology lands in real life, through relationships, work, money decisions, and the internal response to all of it. This is a collective forecast. Also, exact times can vary a bit by location and time zone, so use the dates as anchors. And make sure you stick around until the end. I'm going to share a specific timing technique that will tell you exactly which part of this forecast matters most for your specific age. For Sagittarius rising, 2026 is a heart and truth year, a year where creativity, romance, joy, and self-expression stop being optional and start feeling like part of your life purpose. But it's not just have more fun. It's more specific than that. This year asks you to get honest about what actually lights you up and what you've been doing purely out of obligation. You might feel a little more sensitive to boredom this year, like you can't fake it. If something doesn't have meaning, you're going to feel it immediately. And that's not a problem, it's guidance. 2026 is a year where your joy is actually diagnostic. It shows you what's alive and what's dead. So the theme is simple. Choose what's real, choose what's inspiring, and let your life reorganize around what you actually want. As a Sagittarius rising, your chart ruler is Jupiter, so Jupiter sets the tone for how you move through 2026, your vitality, your luck, your growth, and your sense of direction. The headline for your chart ruler this year is a massive shift in focus. For the first half of the year, Jupiter is in Cancer, which is a more private, emotional, and protective energy. It's about building security. But halfway through the year, Jupiter moves into Leo, a fellow fire sign, and suddenly the energy opens up. It becomes visible, expressive, and adventurous. So, for Sagittarius rising, 2026 has a distinct inhale-exhale rhythm. The first half is for gathering strength and resources. The second half is for launching the vision. If you use Jupiter well this year, the theme is simple. Secure the foundation first so you can take the bigger leap later. The headline transit for Sagittarius rising in 2026 is Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries and activating your fifth house, creativity, romance, children, pleasure, and the things you do just because you love them. Here are the key timing anchors. Neptune enters Aries on January 26th at the very first degree. Saturn enters Aries on February 13th, and then they meet, Saturn conjunct Neptune on February 20th. For Sagittarius rising, the fifth house is the house of good fortune. It's where life is supposed to feel good. Neptune here can bring a huge wave of inspiration, artistic vision, or a romantic ideal that feels larger than life. But Neptune can also bring disillusionment if you've been chasing a fantasy that has no substance. Saturn here demands you take your joy seriously. It asks you to commit to your creativity, to structure your pleasure, or to get real about a romantic situation. And a dignity note that matters. Saturn is in fall in Aries. Aries wants impulse, Saturn wants discipline. So, in your creative life or love life, you might feel a tension between I want to do this now and I need to build this right. The lesson is that real joy takes work. It's not just a spark, it's a fire you have to tend. So early 2026 is a reality check for your heart. If a creative project or a relationship is real, this is the time to commit to it. If it's just a distraction, you'll likely lose interest. The goal is to build a life where your joy is a daily practice, not just a weekend escape. Now here's the second major shift of 2026 for Sagittarius rising, and it's about who you're with. On April 25th, Uranus leaves Taurus and enters Gemini. For Sagittarius rising, that activates your 7th house: partners, spouses, best friends, open enemies, and committed relationships. Uranus in the 7th is the relationship revolution. It disrupts stagnant patterns in partnership. If you're single, it can bring sudden, unusual, or electric connections that don't fit your usual type. If you're partnered, it asks for more freedom and authenticity within the bond. Relationships that are too rigid or controlling will struggle here. Relationships that can flex and evolve will thrive. A specific warning for your relationships: there is a wild card week for your partnerships, July 4th. Mars meets Uranus in your 7th house. This is volatile energy coming from the other. A partner might act out of character, a contract might suddenly shift, or a relationship dynamic could flip overnight. Stay flexible, but don't force stability where there isn't any. The deeper lesson with Uranus in the 7th is that you can't control other people. You can only control your own truth. And the more you show up as your real self, the more you attract people who actually fit you. Now let's talk eclipses, because this is where the year tends to course correct you. First, the Aquarius and Leo eclipses. The solar eclipse in Aquarius happens on February 17th at 29 degrees, and the solar eclipse in Leo happens on August 12th at 20 degrees. For Sagittarius rising, Aquarius is your 3rd house: daily life, communication, siblings, skills, and your local environment. Leo is your 9th house: beliefs, travel, education, publishing, and the bigger picture. So this axis is about the mind, big mind, 9th, and daily mind, 3rd. It's asking you to align your daily conversations with your bigger philosophy. It can bring turning points in education, writing projects, travel plans, or a shift in how you see the world. It's asking, do your daily habits actually support your beliefs? Second, the Virgo and Pisces eclipses. The lunar eclipse in Virgo happens on March 3rd at 13 degrees, and the lunar eclipse in Pisces happens on August 28th at 5 degrees. For Sagittarius rising, Virgo is your 10th house: career, reputation, and public life. Pisces is your 4th house: home, family, roots, and privacy. So the second axis is very practical: career versus home. You may feel pulled to make changes in your living situation, or you may reach a turning point in your career path. The eclipses will highlight where the balance is off. If you've been sacrificing your home life for work or hiding in your private life to avoid your potential, these eclipses force a correction. On August 18th, 2026, the lunar nodes change signs. The North Node leaves Pisces and enters Aquarius, and the South Node leaves Virgo and enters Leo. For Sagittarius rising, that lands across your 3rd and 9th houses, so it reinforces the learning and teaching storyline for the rest of the year. With the North Node moving through Aquarius, growth pulls you towards skill building, local connection, and practical communication. It asks you to be a student again, to learn the details, and to connect with the people right in front of you. And with the South Node in Leo in your 9th house, there's a release happening around the need to be the guru or the one with all the big answers. It's a year to listen more than you preach. If you've been asking, what's my message? After mid-August, it gets clearer. Focus on the practical details, and the big vision will take care of itself. Pluto continues moving through Aquarius, and for Sagittarius rising, that's your 3rd house: communication, mindset, siblings, and your daily environment. This is a long transit, so it's not a one-year story. But in 2026, you can feel what it's doing. It's transforming your voice. Pluto in the 3rd can bring deep, intense conversations, or a change in how you process information. It asks you to stop skimming the surface and start speaking the truth, even if it's uncomfortable. It can also bring transformation to sibling relationships or your neighborhood dynamics. The point isn't to be heavy. The point is to be potent. Your words have power here. Use them carefully. Jupiter is a supporting co-star in 2026. And for you, it's personal because it's your ruler. A key timing anchor is June 30th, when Jupiter enters Leo. For the first half of the year, Jupiter is moving through Cancer, which is your 8th house, shared resources, debt, trust, and intimacy. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, so this is a very protective and supportive transit for finances, investments, or deepening a bond with a partner. It's a great time to settle debts, secure funding, or do deep emotional healing. Then, on June 30th, Jupiter enters Leo and moves into your 9th house, the house of the Archer. This is Jupiter coming home. It activates travel, wisdom, publishing, and the search for meaning. 2 key dates to watch here. First, around July 20th, Jupiter opposes Pluto. This can feel like a crisis of faith or a heated debate where your big vision clashes with harsh facts or a difficult conversation. Second, mark November 16th. Mars joins Jupiter in your 9th house. This is your launch window. Massive energy for publishing, traveling, or fighting for what you believe in. So the pattern is simple. First, you secure your resources, 8th house, and then you launch your vision, 9th house. Late in the year, Venus goes retrograde, and for Sagittarius Rising, this puts the spotlight on your social world and your inner life. Venus stations retrograde on October 3rd at 8 degrees Scorpio, and then Venus stations direct on November 13th at 23 degrees Libra. For Sagittarius Rising, this retrograde storyline moves across your 12th and 11th houses. Scorpio is your 12th house, retreat, the subconscious, hidden things, and closure. Libra is your 11th house, friends, networks, community, and hopes. A dignity note that matters. Venus in Scorpio is traditionally in detriment, so the first part of the retrograde can feel like a deep internal review. You might be processing old grief, past relationships, or hidden desires that you haven't admitted to yourself. Then, when Venus turns direct in Libra, where Venus is in domicile, things usually get clearer and lighter. It brings the focus back to your friendships and your community. You might reconnect with old allies or realize which social circles actually support you. So, for Sagittarius Rising, this is a season of clearing out the subconscious so you can show up more fully for your friends. Before we close, I want to add one timing technique from traditional astrology that makes the year feel much more personal: annual profections. Each year of life activates a house. That house becomes the main topic of the year, and its ruler becomes your Time Lord, the planet that helps tell the story of how the year unfolds. Perfections are counted from your birthday to your next birthday. For Sagittarius Rising, here's the perfection map. Find your age. How to use this. If your perfection house lines up with the loud themes in the forecast, especially the 5th, 7th, 9th, or 11th, those topics tend to feel more personal, and timing tends to show up more clearly. To pull it all together, 2026 is a year where joy, relationships, and direction all evolve at the same time. Late January through February sets the tone as Saturn and Neptune enter Aries and activate your 5th house, reshaping romance, creativity, and what makes you feel alive. Late April brings Uranus into your 7th, updating partnership dynamics and bringing sudden shifts in relationships and collaborations. The eclipses and the Nodal Shift emphasize the 3rd and 9th houses, learning, communication, and a changing worldview, and they ask you to keep your growth practical and consistent. Jupiter supports expansion through shared resources and emotional depth early in the year, and then opens the world up in the second half through travel, education, and purpose. And Venus retrograde in the fall brings a quieter relationship reset, helping you clear old patterns and choose social connections that actually support your future. If you keep it simple, commit to what inspires you, let relationships evolve honestly, and make your daily mindset match the life you're trying to build. This has been your 2026 full year forecast for Sagittarius Rising from Astro Lab, where ancient astrology meets modern psychological insight. Each month, we'll come back to these themes and track how they unfold in real time.